Hello and welcome to Release Readiness Live. I'm Elna Miller, your Release Readiness champion. We are here in the studio all this week to talk about new features from the Spring 20 release across all the major clouds. Today, we're with the team from the Service Cloud. Our hope is that whether this is your first Salesforce release or your 20th, you'll learn something new that you can use. Our product team is right here in the studio to tell you about some new features, do some live demos, and answer your questions on the air. Speaking of questions, let's just take a quick moment to review how this works. We will be monitoring both the Release Readiness Trailblazers community and Twitter. And the most important thing to remember is to use the hashtag #SalesforceLive. Now, I recommend posting your longer, more detailed questions in the community because then the conversation can continue after the webcast. If we don't get to your question on the air, we'll be sure to follow up with you within the next few days. We are recording this broadcast so you can watch it whenever you like. Now, since we may be covering the roadmap, we will be making some forward-looking statements, so please make sure that any purchasing decisions you make are based on currently available functionality. And now let's meet the team. So welcome, starting with you, Grace.
Hi everyone, I'm Grace. I'm a product manager working on core service, and I'm super excited to be here in my first Release Readiness Live.
Great. Hi everyone, I'm Pooja Narayan. I'm a product manager on the Einstein team focusing specifically on AI for service. This is my first Release Readiness Live as well, and I'm really excited to be here and share with all of you all the exciting things that we've worked on in Spring 20 and what's coming up.
Good morning, I'm Jared Long. Really excited to be here to walk you through some of the great new announcements that we have coming on digital engagement. Thanks.
Gary?
Hello everyone, I'm Gary Brandeler. I'm one of the field service product director. I've been on the product for 3 years now. I'm focusing now on asset service management, but I'm going to show you features for all the pillars that we are tackling. So it will be mobile and dispatch also.
Well, welcome everybody. And we usually start this broadcast with the core features for Service Cloud. So I believe you're covering that, Grace, so over to you.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm super excited to start with case and email today. So this is a great release for us. We're finally going GA with case merge. And we heard a lot of your feedback when we went beta with case merge and incorporated a lot of that into our product. So now with case merge, you can merge up to 3 cases right in our UI. So this eliminates a lot of your trash data and duplicate cases from your service org. So I'll be doing a demo of this in a few minutes, so stay tuned. In your case feed, currently, you can now see actual timestamps. So previously in your case feed, the case feed would be in relative timestamps. So time would be shown as just now or just a few minutes ago. But now you can turn on a setting where you can show the actual timestamps. So this will really allow your agents to see when those case updates were done. Next, for admins, we are now allowing admins to restrict access to closed case statuses. So if you don't want your agents to be able to access the closed case statuses, then you can turn that on and off in your setup. Moving on to knowledge, we first start off with article version comparisons. So we've now created a component in Lightning App Builder, which you can drag onto any knowledge record homepage that allows you to compare your article versions. So this way, agents can really see what has changed between different versions of the articles. And this is really helpful because sometimes between different knowledge articles, it's hard to see what has been deleted or added, but this makes it really easy to do that. And I'll also be demoing this later. If your service organization uses chat or messaging channels, agents can now insert URLs to community articles into those channels. So we had this on a couple of other channels before, but now we're bringing that to chat and messaging. We all know that images are essential to any knowledge article, and now you can resize images in Chrome. So you don't have to leave your browser to directly resize images for knowledge articles. So data categories are used to classify knowledge articles, and previously you could only tag up to 15 data categories to each knowledge article. But now if you have the unlimited or enterprise editions, you can ask to be upgraded to 50 data categories per knowledge article. And finally, we are piloting standard sharing for knowledge. So this means that you can use criteria-based or owner-based rules to define sharing for your knowledge articles. So this is an exciting new feature that we're piloting, and if you're interested, please reach out to your AE. Now, we can't talk about Service Cloud without talking about agent productivity, and this is also a really exciting release for agent productivity. So by popular demand, we now have brought bulk macros into Lightning. So bulk macros were available in Classic before, but now they're also available in Lightning. So this means you can run your macros on multiple records at a time to save time and your agent's energy. So this is a really big boost in agent productivity. And finally, we also have macros running in the background. So the advantage of this is that with macros running in the background, the UI on the Service Console actually doesn't change. So this way, your agent can continue their workflow while the macros run. And this really increases speed and efficiency for the macro. And when the macro is finished running, then a pop-up will appear to let the agents know that the macro has finished running. And finally, for Omni-Channel, we have two exciting updates. The first is that we made a change to our capacity model. So now, previously we had a tab-based capacity model where if the agent wanted to free up their capacity, they would have to close the tab in the record. But now you can select a field in which that capacity is based off of. So for example, I can choose the status field on a case, and once that case is closed, then that actually frees up the agent's capacity. And the agent can keep that tab for as long as they want. And this is in beta, and I'm going to demo this in a few minutes as well. And lastly, we know that Omni Supervisor is super popular, and supervisors have their favorite filters for the information that they want to find. So that's why we've made the filters sticky. So this means that the filters are now persistent in Omni Supervisor, so that the next time you come to Omni Supervisor, your filters will be there until you clear them. Okay, so now I will go into a demo of some of our new features. So the first thing that I wanted to demo was status-based capacity. So in order to enable this, you have to go into Setup, go into your Omni-Channel settings, and there's a checkbox here that you can enable status-based capacity. Now, if you don't check this, that means the tab-based capacity model will be the default. But if you check this, this means you also have the option of using the status-based capacity model. So once you've done that, you can go into your service channels. I've already set up one for cases, and click Edit. So this is the channel for cases. And once you come down here in capacity settings, you can see that there's either tab-based or status-based capacity model. So for this demo, I've chosen status-based, and then you can choose the field in which you want that model to be based off of. So these are all the available fields from cases, and the fields that you can choose are the pick list fields. So I chose status, and then you can also choose values for when you want to free up the capacity and when you want the capacity to be taken up for the agent. So I've chosen these values for that purpose. So I'm going to click Save. And now let's go into Omni Supervisor. So we can see that Eric Ware is currently working on one case. So it's taking up 25% of his capacity. So now let's say that Eric has worked on this case for a while and he's finally ready to close it. So I mark the status as closed. And once you see that the case has been closed, you can see that his capacity has freed up, even though I didn't close the tab on the record. So this really enables agents to keep as many tabs open as they want and really allows you the flexibility to choose whatever field you want the capacity to be based off of. Okay, so let's move on to case merge. So in order to set up case merge, again, go in your setup and search case merge. And this is something that we changed from the beta. So we heard from a lot of you that agents don't have delete cases permissions. So that's why we made a new option to keep the duplicate cases after the merge. And this is also new, where you can add a case status that the case will be marked once it's merged. So I've added this new case status called merged. So I save that, and now I can use case merge. So let's say I have 2 duplicate cases. So this change account plan and another changing account plan. So just select the cases and select case merge. So you have to choose one case to use as the master. So I'm just going to use 1719 as the master. And then you can see here that I can pick which values in the fields that I want to be persisted in the master case. So let's say I pick some fields here. Okay, and you can see down here that there are some fields that you cannot choose values for, and that's because these fields have the same values. So that means that you can't choose which one to use. So I'm going to click Next and Merge. Okay, great. So this is now the master case. And you can see here that this is the case that we merged. And this is the child case that was merged, and this is marked with a merge status. Great, so that is case merge. Moving on to the knowledge article comparisons. So let's say that you have a few knowledge articles that you want to compare across versions. So right here, I've added the component onto the record homepage, and I can choose the version that I want to see. So once I click that compare button, the green indicates anything that's been added to the article, and the red indicates anything that has been deleted. And lastly, I'm going to show a demo of bulk macros. So let's say that as an agent, I've worked very hard to close a lot of different cases. So I want to update those statuses all at once. So I can select multiple records. And run a macro across all of those records. So once I click on the macro, if this lightning bolt comes up, that means you can run it in the background and you can run it in bulk. So the other ones that do not have this lightning bolt means that you cannot run it in bulk. So I'm going to run this macro. And as you can see, all of the cases were marked as closed. And this really saves agents a lot of time and energy. So that's just a brief overview of some of the amazing things we've released in the Spring 20 release. And I'm super excited for everyone to try it.
All right. Thank you very much. That's great. Case merge is really sweet. I love that. I know a lot of folks have been waiting for that. A lot of times you end up with cases that are duplicates, but there's unique information in each version that really need to be saved. So that's a great one. And bulk macros, you know, lots of people save a lot of time, and doing them in bulk is even better. So thanks for that. Now, I know that the case merge, you know, there's more to be done on it over time. So I'm wondering, will case merge be supported for cases in Omni-Channel?
Yes, so when we were in beta, we ran across a lot of customers asking if they can merge cases that are currently in queues in Omni. So the answer to that is that we're definitely looking into supporting being able to merge cases that are in Omni with cases that are not in Omni. But currently it does not work in the product, but it's definitely on our roadmap. And we also know that there was a bug in Omni where even if the case was assigned to an agent, sometimes the case merge would not happen. But we fixed that bug, so currently if you assign a case to an agent, you can actually merge that case.
Got it. So now, since merge is one way of getting rid of duplicates, what about duplicate detection for cases so that you can avoid that situation to begin with?
Yes, so a lot of customers have suggested this, and this is something that we're very interested in and we're looking into for our future roadmap.
Great. And speaking of roadmap, did you have any additional roadmap to share, or just
Yes.
checking? Right.
Yes, so I have a few roadmap highlights to share. For email, we're going to be implementing email threading using message headers. And in Knowledge, we're actually going to implement a widget where you can attach an article PDF directly to the case email. So that's coming up in Knowledge, as well as the standard sharing that I was talking about earlier. And for Omni, we're also rolling out attribute-based routing for chats, as well as iterative routing, which is basically when you have optional skills for requests, you can choose the order in which those optional skills are dropped to find the next available agent.
Nice. Thanks. Looking forward to that. So a couple more questions and then we'll move on. So in the knowledge article comparison demo that you did, why do you have HTML in the article comparison?
Yes, so we wanted to start off by showing HTML to show any format changes that happen between the articles, but in the future we're looking towards showing text only.
Gotcha. Okay. And one last question. With standard sharing for knowledge, what happens to the data categories?
Right, so previously data categories were the only things that were used to determine sharing rules. But now you can use either data categories or the standard sharing rules in order to determine how you want to share with people across your org. So it's an either or situation. You have to pick either data categories or a standard sharing for each of your records.
Gotcha. I do see one more question from Lindsay about case merge. So when you merge two cases and you have a master and a non-master, does the non-master become like a child case, or is it unrelated to the parent and then the status just gets updated?
Yes, so from my understanding, the non-master case does become a child case of the master case. And when you go on the master case record home, you can see the related case, so you can actually click into the child case.
So that answers Julie's questions about whether merged cases appear in the related list for the master.
Do.
Yes, so they do appear there.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. All right, so since we do have a lot more to show you today, let's move on to Einstein for Service and Bots with Pooja, and I'll hand it to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So Einstein for Service, as many of you know, Einstein for Service is a powerful set of features built using artificial intelligence with the sole objective to boost agent productivity and reduce the time they spend solving cases so that overall customer satisfaction improves. And that's pretty much been the focus of our team in Spring 20. So let's take a look at some of the highlights. Very excited to share that article recommendations will now be generally available. With article recommendations, what we've done is that Einstein suggests the most relevant knowledge articles to agents so that they don't have to manually sift through or search through a long list of articles in the knowledge component. And that's pretty much the benefit of article recommendations. It's easy to use, it's present within the knowledge component, so agents do not have to pivot from screen to screen. It's also included in the UE and EE Service Cloud license. So you can try it and let us know how you thought of it. I'm going to be demoing this feature from the agent side and admin side, so stay tuned to see article recommendations live in action. Next is reply recommendations, which is still in pilot, but in this release, what we've worked on is automated training and template generation. Just to recap what article reply recommendations is, with Einstein, what we've done is that we want to help your agents be more productive. So we let the agents know what to say next on live chat and messaging. So we leverage some deep learning models, context of the chat, and past chat transcripts to come up with recommendations on what to say next. In this release specifically, we worked on automated training, which really helps us onboard more customers. Earlier, the data science team had to manually train a model every time they worked with a customer, but now this process is automated end to end. So we can onboard more customers and get them started with reply recommendations. With template generation, what we've done is really help admins by using specific machine learning techniques such as clustering. we cluster agent responses and generate a list of reply templates, which the admins can review. They can approve it and let us know about it so that we can inject those reply templates in the models and then use them for recommendations. And that's pretty much it about automated training and template generation. This release, we've also worked on data segmentation with case classification. So now you can use up to 5 data segments. What I mean by that is that if you are a business and you're using Salesforce and you have a Service Cloud instance within which you're running 2 business units, one business unit could be enterprise, one could be consumer, you can let us know that, and we will run our models, we will train our models based on those 2 distinct data segments, and that will lead to much better predictions. And that's the beauty of data segmentation. We are also excited to announce that there's a limited functionality flavor of case classification, which will now be available with UE and EE Service Cloud licenses. It's sort of like a try before you buy functionality, so you can actually see if case classification works for you, and if it does, you can upgrade to the premium version. Upcoming in the next few releases is the general availability of reply recommendations, and we're really excited about that. We're also working really hard to bring multilingual support for article recommendations. So far, article recommendations has only been available in English language, but soon it will be available in French, German, Italian, and Spanish, so really excited about that. Article recommendations will be present in conversations as well, so the team is working really hard to support agents in live chat and messaging channels so that they can attach articles to cases in real time. Lastly, Einstein Case Wrap-Up, which is in pilot. It's a really interesting idea. What we're trying to do here is to automate the case wrap-up process. From the time an agent really speaks to a customer to the time they actually close a case, there are many steps involved. And some of them are simple, tedious, such as like filling case fields, summarizing the case before transferring the case to an agent. And these can be automated. So we're exploring these ideas and trying to figure out if we can automate the case wrap-up process. And this is still in pilot phase, similar to reply recommendation. So if you're interested in trying it out, let your account executive know, and we will have a short introductory call with you to get you onboarded. With that, I'm going to quickly demo Einstein for Service features. All right. So here we are in the cases field. What I'll try to do is generate a new case. And let me use the text from my previous case so that we don't have to spend too much time. So what I'm saying here is that there's a customer, let's call her Lauren Bailey, and she works for a company, Ohana. And she's saying that my turbine is not generating any power and I need help with this ASAP. So I'm just going to save this case. And there you go. A case was generated for Lauren. And you can see on the top left corner that it says Einstein recommendations available. And you see that most of these fields are empty. But as soon as I click on Einstein recommendations, there you go. All these fields were filled. And Einstein says that English is the best suited language for this specific case field. Priority seems high because the customer said that I need help with this ASAP. So Einstein was smart enough to recognize that. If you click on type, it says recommended by Einstein product support. Yes, it is a product support feature. Hardware issue. Turbine is a hardware. And it's a troubleshooting issue. So pretty much, let's look at product family as well. Residential products, voila. So everything looks good, so we will click on save. And you can see on the right-hand side, Einstein suggested articles. You can hover over on top of that, and you will see a really great description of what the cause could be, what troubleshooting steps to take, and really giving the agents all the information they need to resolve this case. So you can attach this article. You can also detach it if it's not the right one for you. And you can also insert this into an email to send it to a customer. How easy was that? And here's your email. You can send this, and there you go. The case is attached, the article is attached, and the email is sent to the customer. Let's look at the agent setup now. So this is on the agent console. We'll go to the setup page. It's loading. Okay, so we look at article recommendations in the quick find. Click on it. And here we are on the article recommendations page. So the toggle's already turned on because my Einstein recommendations were on, but you can turn it to the right if you want to enable article recommendations. Then you click on select. And it also gives you a brief introduction on how do article recommendations work and how can you give your model more data to really educate you. Then you need to choose the fields which are the most valuable for your cases. In my experience, I think description is a very valuable field which lets you understand what the case is really about. You can also choose additional fields by moving them left and right. Then you choose what's the most valuable field from the knowledge articles. So title is very valuable for me. And then you can also choose additional fields based on your preference and your data needs. Click Save. Then you click on Build. I'm not going to click on Build right now because it's going to take 2 to 13 hours. And then you can eventually activate recommendations. And that's it. You will see article recommendations in the knowledge component on the previous screen that I showed you. Similarly, for Einstein case classification, if you want to use data segmentation that we just talked about, go to the setup, look for case classification, click on case classification, turn case classification to the right side, and that will enable Einstein case classification. I already have a predictive model built, but let's try to create another segment now. So I'm going to click on New because I'm trying to create a new model for my new data segment. So let's just call it Enterprise Tech. Click Next. And it asks me, want to focus on a particular segment in your case data set? So I will say yes. And then you can actually define your segment. In my demo, I'm just going to use case record type, set it to equal, and the value equal to technical service. You can add multiple conditions depending on how you want to define your data segment. It asks you if you want to use examples for your predictive model. Since I do not have any labeled data, I'm going to say no. And then you can choose the fields that you want to use to predict. So you can choose up to 10. And in our case, I've used 7. You click Next. And we see that something is wrong. So it says the closed case count for your case type is fewer than 400, which is the requirement for case classification. We need at least 400 closed cases by field. Since case type does not have sufficient closed cases, we're going to go back, remove case type, press Next, and everything looks good now. So we're just going to hit Finish, and our segment's already created. It's going to take some time, but this is how the admin side setup of case classification is. With that, I'm going to move back to my slides. All right. So switching gears a bit, let's talk about Einstein Bots. We've seen a lot of excitement amongst customers about Einstein Bots, and what they pretty much do is help customers with routine tasks and help ease the load on agents so that they can focus on more complex tasks. So in Spring 20, what the team worked on was conditional messaging, which is a great feature that helps you craft personalized messages based on some predefined criteria. So let's take an example. Example could be a bot is talking to a customer, and the bot says, how satisfied were you with this experience? And the customer says 5 on 10. So you can actually define a conditional message. Example, if the customer satisfaction score is equal to 5, then send a message such as, tell me how we can improve your experience. And that makes your bot sound so much more intelligent and helps turn good conversations into great conversations. And that's pretty much what conditional messaging is. The second one is conversational repair, which is a way of gracefully recovering a conversation which is going in the wrong direction because of an error. So assume the customer has to send an email address to the bot and they miss the @@ sign. So earlier, such a case would be routed to an agent because it would give an error to the bot. But now the bot can send a message back to the customer and say, this is the format of the email that we accept, and seems like you haven't added the @ sign. So could you please enter the email in the right format? And that could help the customer to correct their format error and continue the conversation. Next is NLP model management, which is a model management dashboard that really allows you to tune the performance of your models. What you can do is you can actually go through all the intents that you have and utterances within those intents and see which which intents are working really well and which are not. And if there are utterances which are few in number, then how can you add more utterances? Also, you can look at if there are intents pointing to a composite intent, then you can actually try to disambiguate them and improve the performance of your model. So model management really helps you there. Lastly, very excited to announce that Einstein Bots is now available on WhatsApp in over 180 countries. So we're really excited to be present where our end customers are. And we will be supporting multiple languages in the future as well, such as Japanese and Chinese. We are present in English at the moment. Einstein Bots will also be available in Facebook Messenger, general availability very soon, so excited about that as well. And lastly, the team is exploring an idea called Input Recommender, which is there really to help admins. If you're trying to add utterances within an intent, it's so painful to really think through 150 different variations of the same utterance to point to a specific intent. So if the intent is returns, there are so many ways in which you can say, how do I place a return? How do I get a shipping label, etc. And admins earlier had to think through that and write down different inputs for an intent. But now with Input Recommender, we've used machine learning to actually help you come up with different variations of the same utterance. And we're exploring this idea and we're working on it as of now. If you're interested in partnering with the bots team on Input Recommender, please let your account executive know and they will be happy to assist you further. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions on Einstein for Service.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. So Einstein recommendations for the field values, that's really neat. And I'm imagining that would be great for data quality. When people don't fill in everything, right. If it's repetitive, filling in the same, they may miss a few.
Yeah.
Or if they're new, it could remind them, here's what you should fill in.
That's actually very correct. I recently did a research study and I visited Portland's customer support center, and it was so fascinating to see agents spend so much time actually remembering what field to fill, and they actually walked us through a whole manual where they map every field to a specific condition, and if that condition is met, they would add that field. And I was like, that's so painful.
Wow. And
they can actually spend time doing more meaningful things. So really happy that we're helping them here.
Nice. So let's just clear up make sure everybody understands. So Einstein for Service and Einstein Bots, are they included in Service Cloud or are they an add-on for an additional cost?
It really depends on the feature. Example, article recommendations is included in the UE and EE Service Cloud licenses. A limited functionality of case classification that I just talked about is also included in the UE and EE Service Cloud licenses. Bots is separate from Einstein for Service, and you can use it with sales, marketing, and service clouds. For any more information on the pricing, please feel free to reach out to your account executives and they will be able to help you with more detailed pricing plans.
Got it. And Lindy asks, how is Einstein article recommendations different from knowledge suggested articles, which also looks at values in case fields?
That's a really great question. So Einstein Search was working great, and you could actually type in, just like any other search platforms, you can just type in the words that you think are most meaningful to your title, and it'll show you a list of articles. With Einstein article recommendations, what we've done is we've built a machine learning layer on top of search. So what is that going to do is that on top of all the relevant scored results that we get from Einstein Search, we're going to look at past case attached relationships. So if an agent has specifically attached a specific case to article to a specific case, we will use that knowledge to come up with even better recommendations. And that's pretty much what article recommendations does.
Nice. Now, Kim was asking, when you were showing attaching an article to a case and then emailing that article, she wants to understand, does the client see it if you attach it to the case, or do you need to also email it? And if you don't email it, why would you attach an article to a case? What's the use case for that?
That's a really great question. From my understanding, I think when you attach an article to a case, it doesn't go to the customer directly. It's just for your reference, and it also helps Einstein get smarter, so we can look at that case attached information and like learn from it. Through the email, I think it actually goes to the actual email address of the customer, and they get to see what all troubleshooting steps are involved.
Right. There are also such a thing as internal-facing articles, right? That might just give you troubleshooting steps or guidance.
Right.
And or if you're passing the case on to another agent, and if you give them the article, let's say there's a tier 1 and a tier 2, and the tier 1 is just kind of gathering the information, and then the tier 2 actually notifies the customer or engages with the customer. They may not want to send the article until that maybe they check to make sure it's the right one, or you know, that kind of thing.
Also, I think agents like personalize the message after attaching. After saying insert to an email, they add like the name of the customer and they tweak a few things here and there. So I would assume that the final message that goes to the customer is through the email.
Right. Yeah. Or another channel if they're on another social media or something. Also, another great question, also in the same one from Kim. What could you combine the two actions into one somehow, where you would attach and email? And I'm wondering if that might be a use case for a macro, right?
Yeah.
Like you would, and I think I've seen this done before in another demo, where a macro would attach the article and then start an email and insert it for you, so that you would just add your personalization and then you would be done.
Right. I think that's really great feedback, and I will make sure that I share that with the product team. As of today, that from my knowledge, that doesn't happen, but in the future, we can definitely consider combining the two functionalities.
Gotcha. Now, if customers want to use the reply recommendations or article recommendations, I think you showed you have to enable article recommendations, and you showed how to set those up. But what about the reply recommendations? How would you get started with those?
Right. So reply recommendations is still in pilot. So we do not have all the details hashed out. But if you're interested in partnering with us for reply recommendations, we can get you onboarded. A lot of the process is manual at the moment, and with automated training and template generation, we've automated bits of it, but the whole pipeline is not automated as of right now. So as soon as reply recommendations is generally available, I can share more about the details on how to get started and how to enable them.
Great. Now, a lot of folks are interested in bots, but they may not have used them yet, and they want to know, how can we get started? What's the fastest way to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. With bots, I would say that consider using bots for very simple use cases, the ones which are like high volume. Start with using bots for like 1 to 2 use cases, rather than using it directly for a very complex use case, and see how it works for you. And that will really help you get successful. I think there are dozens of apps on App Exchange that you can use, and they have templates on top of which you can build your bots. You can also reach out to customer support or your account executive to get started.
Maybe I can't log in would be a good use case, right?
Yeah, I can't log
password.
in. Or where's my order?
Yeah, status of my order.
Status of my order.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, we often get asked, how can we use, or can we use Einstein bots in other contexts, like outside of Service Cloud, for example, in lead generation or other types of use cases?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
That's a really great question. So Einstein bots can actually be the first line of service, marketing, and sales, and you can use it for providing customer support or scheduling appointments or generating and maintaining leads. So you can use it outside of Service Cloud as well.
Great. All right, looking good there. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So I think we should go ahead and move on to Jared, and we're going to dive into digital engagement.
Perfect. So with digital engagement, we're creating more ways for your customers to communicate with your business with the additions of WhatsApp and short codes. And we're making it easy for them to do that through new products like the channel menu, which are going to showcase your business's multi-channel customer support offering. And I'm really happy to jump in. And so let's get started here with, we'll get started with WhatsApp. So in this spring release, we're taking WhatsApp GA as part of digital engagement. So now all of you are able to offer WhatsApp as a secure means to message with your business for customer support needs. Now, WhatsApp supports text messaging, picture messaging, and even read receipts, which we know people love. Now all of our digital engagement customers can begin to take advantage of reaching that 1.6 billion users around the world that are already on the WhatsApp service. And as we just heard, WhatsApp also works with bots. So if you have a bot deployment with Facebook or SMS, you can create a new bot deployment for WhatsApp and begin automating that customer experience today. We're really excited to be able to offer WhatsApp as part of digital engagement and can't wait to see how it transforms your business. We also have the channel menu, which is going GA in this spring release as well. And if you missed our Dreamforce announcement on the channel menu, it's going to provide your end users the ability to choose their preferred customer support channel all from a single location. And it's going to show all of the channels that you already have deployed with Service Cloud. Many of our customers have already implemented the channel menu as a replacement for that dreaded Contact Us page that lives in the corners of your website. The channel menu is going to surface all of that information and make it more accessible to your users across your website. Now, once implemented, newly enabled channels can be added without a web release, and this is huge. So no longer do you have to reach out to IT or maybe marketing owns your website. We're empowering your service admins to be able to add these channels declaratively in setup, making it super easy. All it takes to get started is just copy and pasting a small JavaScript code snippet to your website and you'll be up and running. And if you're a Communities customer, the great news for you is this is all out of the box. Now in this new spring release, we're introducing some new features that allow you to customize the look of the channel menu. So now it can match the theming and colors of your website, really giving you that immersive customer experience that we know your customers love. We even allow you to customize the labels. So not only do you have a widget that looks and feels like the rest of your website, but it's able to speak your brand voice. So really providing your customers that immersive experience, and we think they're going to love it. Next, we have shortcodes, and shortcodes are, if you notice a pattern, are also going to be GA in this spring release. And if you're not familiar, shortcodes are going to be those 5 to 6-digit phone numbers that you'll occasionally receive text messages from. And now for digital engagement customers, if you're doing a lot of triggered outbound at really high volumes, then shortcodes are going to be perfect for you. So if you think about appointment reminders, transactional updates, maybe you offer subscription notifications, shortcodes are going to allow you to be able to do that. And what sets shortcodes apart with digital engagement is that we offer you the ability to turn those notifications conversational. So if you have a customer that needs to reschedule an appointment, for instance, they can simply reply to that notification and automatically be routed to the service professional or bot to be able to get that appointment rescheduled. And again, this is really easy to implement. IT doesn't need to be involved. It's just another configuration in your setup page. And one important note on shortcodes, these are currently only available in the US, and we don't support picture messaging at this time, but stay tuned in future releases as we will be working to add additional countries there. And lastly, we're introducing some new consent management features that work across all of our channels, so Facebook, WhatsApp, SMS, and shortcodes, and will really empower your business to enforce those consent management policies that you have, and we've built them in a way that align with the government messaging guidelines. And so if you're a shortcode customer that's looking to do double opt-in, we do support that as well, and if you'd like more information on that, please reach out to your account team, and they'll be happy to get you that information. And so with that, I would love to hop into a demo to walk through some of these exciting new highlights that we have that we just highlighted. And so I'm going to be flipping between a few different personas, but we're going to start as a service admin who works for Capricorn Coffee. And we're going to go through a couple of the configurations that we're able to do with the channel menu. And so I'm in setup, and I've just searched for channel menu in the quick search bar. And here I'm able to look at the deployment that we have on our community. And we're going to start by looking at the branding. So here I'm able to pull up how I'm able to customize certain button colors that appear. We'll make that red. And you can see that I'm able to customize that to the very specific hex value that matches our brand. The button color I'll leave white. We know white on red looks pretty good. And you can see that we have custom icons as well that we have hosted on our website. I'm also I can edit the header color as well. So we'll make that black, something very bold, and you can see we're able to change text color, text font, a number of other customizations, but we'll just keep it at those two for now, save that, and let that update in the background. And then I also want to show the menu setup portion where your admins would be able to add some of these channels that you already have available in Service Cloud. So you can see with this particular deployment of the channel menu, we're offering voice, SMS, WhatsApp, web chat as well. And so you can go in and be able to customize certain elements of these channels, like the operating systems in which those are shown. So lots of great customization here. Now I'm going to switch over to show a mobile device, and that's going to be on the right side of the screen. The mobile device is going to be a customer of Capricorn Coffee, Jared Wong, and he unfortunately had his grinder break today at his coffee shop, and no grinder, no coffee, so he had to close early. He's unhappy, but more importantly, he needs to be able to get help quickly. So he's going to navigate to the customer portal that Capricorn Coffee provided, and we can see the channel menu in that bottom right corner, red as we just updated. And when Jared taps on that, it expands to show all of those different channels that we had just looked at in setup. And Jared is a WhatsApp user, so he's going to tap WhatsApp. And we'll see on the mobile device, it automatically swiveled right over into WhatsApp. He's able to message that business, and it's already addressed to go right to that business. And so all he needs to do is be able to send that message. And Jared here is really trying to figure out if his grinder is covered by warranty. So just address a message. And we'll send that off. So on the left side of the screen, I'm going to be showing the Capricorn Coffee agent who's going to be receiving this message. And we see that message come in, we'll accept it. And we get all of that information, the full customer 360 about Jared Wong is brought up, so we can see past messaging sessions that we have, a case that was just created from accessing WhatsApp from that channel menu. And the agent's able to reply quickly. And we can see those messages going back and forth. So a really nice experience over WhatsApp here. And for the sake of the demo, we'll just say, yes, it's covered. I'll get a new grinder right out to you. So the agent's going to create that order, and we'll just end this conversation. All right, so I'm going to switch over to an associate that works at Capricorn Coffee that's going to be handling this order. And we see the order here. We see that Jared Wong needs a medium scale grinder, and it's going out to Cambridge. So the associate just packaged this up, handed it off to the shipping provider, and they're going to update this order as shipped. And so what we're going to see here is that notification come in. It's going to be a triggered outbound, and we see it's going over that short code. And so what Capricorn Coffee is doing here is they're informing Jared that his shipment just went out, but they're also creating this message in a way that invites Jared to text back if he needs to. And so we'll fast forward to the next day when that grinder gets delivered. Associate's going to update that order again. And we see another message that went out to Jared. And what Capricorn Coffee is doing with this message is they're using this as an opportunity to upsell Jared to a preventative maintenance plan. They know that he just got a new piece of equipment. They know that he's getting a replacement for something that he didn't take care of before. So great opportunity here to increase sales for the business. And Jared's going to reply to that. And on the left side, we'll see that message come right in, and the agent accepts it. So we see that full conversational back and forth happening over a shortcode happens really quickly. And so we covered a few things here today. We covered being able to configure the branding and setup of your channel menu from an admin perspective, what this all looks like from the end user perspective who's going to access that channel menu and get help over WhatsApp, back and forth over WhatsApp, and then showing those triggered outbound messages happening over a shortcode that you are now able to turn conversational. So a lot packed into that demo, but we think you're going to be really excited to get these features into your hands.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing all that. So those with communities can really benefit from some of these new features. So
oh yeah, it's
now
very
this
easy.
is this customer communities primarily, or are there other types of communities that could use this?
Yeah, so this would be customer communities. All of our communities users can begin taking advantage of the channel menu. And as I mentioned before, for communities users specifically, this is all out-of-the-box functionality, so it's super easy to deploy to give your customers access to this new widget.
Great. So, question about the channel menu. What capabilities are available for the channel menu in Salesforce communities?
So with the channel menu, it's going to give you access to whichever channels that you already have deployed in Service Cloud. And so if you're a digital engagement customer and you have Facebook Messenger, you have WhatsApp, or maybe you offer SMS as well, all of those different channels will be able to be added to your channel menu deployment. So we make it pretty simple. As long as it's available within your Service Cloud deployment, it's available in your channel menu.
Gotcha. Now, can you give me some other examples of how you might use shortcodes?
Sure. So again, shortcodes are going to be primarily for the customers that really do a lot of volume. So appointment reminders is a great one. We see a lot of that, and what's great about appointment reminders is that, as I used as an example earlier, you're able to have those turn conversational. So something like that where somebody might need to be able to reschedule, or if it's an order status update, you're able to get more information from either a bot or have that route to a service professional. Subscriptions, things like we see people do it for promotions, but also some type of business notifications as well that your customers need to be aware of. Also good for that.
And with shortcodes, can the communication start from the customer end or the company? Like, for example, I know at Dreamforce, I've seen, text 23936
exactly
to get, the link to something or to enter a contest or something like that.
Yeah, so it works both ways. If it's all inbound initiated from that customer, those will be routed right into your support queues, however you have that configured. So yes, it can certainly be customer initiated. Typically, we find that these are business initiated messages, but certainly works in either direction.
But you're thinking mainly of the support use cases where you have kind of regular communications or typical communications that you would have for most cases or a lot of cases at once.
That's right.
Maybe you have a lot of cases that are open and maybe 50 people have appointments that day and you just want to blast those all out from that one address.
Yeah, exactly. Tons of volume, like around 10,000 messages a day type of volume. Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying that. And can bots work with the channel menu and WhatsApp?
Absolutely. So bots can be, if you have a bot deployment created on any of the channels that you offer through the channel menu, you are able to have that surfaced. So I didn't show, well actually in my demo you did see when I messaged in on WhatsApp, you did get that hang on message that kind of prompted the user. So that sort of would give you the idea of what a bot interaction there would be. I didn't do a full bot demo, but certainly could work across any of the channels with the channel menu.
Nice. All right, well, I think we're going to give Gary a chance to talk about Field Service Lightning. And Gary, you've got plenty of time, so you can do the long version of your presentation.
I'm doing the long version then. First of all, thanks, Jared, because I see as well that you're presenting like preventive maintenance inside your conversation, which is pretty cool because it's touching one of the features I'm working on. So I always like to see that. All right, so on Spring 20, what do we have for field service? I'm showing here only the highlights. I'm definitely not showing all the features we have, so check out the release notes as well. The first feature we have is global actions. So global actions is something that has been supported on the platform for a while. Nevertheless, we are not supporting it on the field service mobile app. So global actions are going to allow you to take actions outside of service appointment, which means that when you are going to open the mobile app, the first screen, the schedule view, is going to show now this lighting blue button that you have at the bottom of the screen to actually take action. Example of that, a use case would be, I want to create a work order outside of the context of an appointment. Second improvement we did is the priming status UI. What we are doing here is the priming is happening automatically behind the scene, but users wanted more transparency into the progress of that synchronization. So now with that UI, you can actually track the progress. You can also force asynchronization. So for example, if you are going on site and you know that you are going to be offline for 3-4 hours or maybe even more, you might want to force the synchronization before you arrive on site, and you can do that from this UI now. Shift management, we have been releasing a pilot last release. We got tons of feedback and we improved based on that. So here we are going to make it better. You can create a case to actually get access to this. And what we have as new features inside the shift management UI, you are going to be able to create your shift directly from there. We are also going to show you 2 tabs, one tab for shift by job profile and one tab for shift by service resource. What's very important as a feature on top of all this is actually that shift records are now consumed by the scheduling engine. Extremely important. Why? Because before, to modelize working hours for contractors or internal employees, you had to use service territory membership and operating hours. For some of your workers, maybe they are working a bit more flexible. So meaning they are working today 3 hours, tomorrow 5 hours, and then maybe not for a few weeks, and then again working for you for a few days. So using service territory membership and operating hours could be covering this use case, but it was kind of a lot of records to create. Shift here is allowing you to create a few records only and covering the use case of like, okay, now I'm working from that time to that time on that day. So that's really easing the setup of actually the working hours for your contractors, but also for your internal employees. Another improvement we have been doing lately is every release we try to add some more configuration on the scheduling engine. One of the things we did last release was extended match rule, which is another work rule that you can use. This release we are proposing you the consecutive work rule. This is kind of an additional feature on top of our complex work feature. And this is going to be allowing you to say, okay, now I want to have 2 appointments scheduled together and have no other appointments scheduled in between those 2 appointments. A good use case for this one would be, let's say that you have a tow truck and you want to send it to grab a car somewhere and then drop that car somewhere else. Here, that would be the perfect example where the first appointment is going to be that tow truck grabbing the car, and then the second appointment going to be the truck dropping the car somewhere else in a garage, for example. All right, so now let's jump in a small demo. I'm going to show you first on the dispatcher side of things what's going on, and then after that I'm going to move on the mobile side. So here I'm on a service appointment. As a reminder, we have this complex work UI that you can add on your page. This is Visualforce page. You can just add it on your service appointment, and the beauty here is that you are going to be able to see directly the kind of dependencies you have between appointments. In this case, you see that I have 2 appointments immediately followed by, so meaning the 2 need to happen consecutively. And basically, I'm setting up this from here. So we have now this picklist value that is going to be available for you, where you can set up your dependencies. On the dispatch console side of things, what it's going to look like is that, for example, if I have my 2 appointments here that are linked, and I want to get candidate for one of them, it's going to propose me candidates, and then it's going to allow me to define that when I'm assigning the candidate, for example, here on Thursday, it's going to assign the first job on Thursday. I'm going to move to the Thursday. So the first job is being assigned, and I don't have to do anything for the second job. The second job is going to come automatically and be assigned as well just after that step 1. So you see now you have step 1, step 2, so the 2 service appointments got scheduled together. If I would try to put an appointment in between here on this travel time, actually it would be shown as a work rule violation, so we would not allow this. The beauty here is really that consecutive work rule is allowing you to have those 2 appointments really linked together. Now let's move to the Shift UI. So the Shift object have been available now for 2 releases, if I remember well. We created the Shift UI last release, and people are asking us, where do you access this? So where do you access it? Easy. It's one of the setup that you can say for the list view. You could say, I want to display it as a table, or I can display it as a schedule. And this is the Shift management UI that we are proposing now. Here I'm seeing Shift by job profile. So what kind of shift do I need electrician for? What kind of shift do I need elevator hardware engineer for? And I can also see it by resource. So basically which technician is assigned to which shift. Now you can see that one of the shifts here is actually assigned to Xavier Acme. Oops, sorry, I'm going to go and take back my territory here. So Xavier Acme has a shift that is assigned here, and it's published but not yet confirmed. I'm going to confirm that shift so that now it's going to be shown as available hours for that resource on the dispatch console. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to confirm that shift. So essentially here it's the user, or you could automate this and say, yes, I'm confirming that I'm available for this shift. And if I refresh now the dispatch console, you're going to see that Xavier Acme is going to be working for much longer than all the other technicians that you have in your territory. So here, if I go on the 29th of January, you're going to see now that Xavier Acme can be assigned some job here from 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. and also after 6 p.m., while all the other employees are basically working from 8 to 6. All right, on the mobile side of things, what I want to show you is the global action. So the first thing here I have is actually on the bottom of my screen, I see this button there that I can click, and it's going to show me the global actions that are here in my org. So for example, I could create a product request. Maybe I'm going to an appointment, but I still need to also add some more inventory items to my stock, and it's kind of outside of any of the appointment I'm doing today. So I could take that action, or I could review my protective gear, for example, in the morning. So here I'm going to click on Review Protective Gear, and it's going to allow me to say, okay, do I have all my protective gear, my safety equipment? Yes, and save this. So this is going to create a request for me. Now, the second thing I want to show you is that if you go in Profile, and then you actually go in Data Sync, you're going to be able to start the sync and use this new UI to force a synchronization. If I exit that screen and I go back on the schedule, you can see that on the top of my screen, I see View Sync in Progress. If I click on that one, you're going to see that it's showing you what is being synced right now, and basically you're going to see this loading bar progressing over time. I'm not going to wait for that, and I'm going to go back on slides to show you what's coming next for summer. So for summer and after, actually. So summer, we are going to offer you deep link actions. So deep link has been used vastly by customers right now. Deep link is allowing you to move from apps to apps on your smartphone. But what we got as a feedback is that customers wanted to deep link from another app on their phone to our app and launch automatically an action inside our app. An example of that would be, I want to deep link from a measurement app, for example, and then go in my work order in the field service mobile app and update automatically the status. So you could do that via an action. Another improvement that we are going to do is enhanced optimization. This is extremely important for you. Why? Because this is going to bring you tons of features. For example, predictive traffic in optimization, in-day optimization, scheduling recipes. All these features are behind the beta right now of enhanced optimization, and we are going to GA this. Ultra simple to actually set up this. Just go in field service settings. There is a checkbox there you can tick, and it's going to be showing you enhanced optimization. You tick it, and you have it. Now, we are going to GA this in summer, but I would advise you to already check out the beta right now on your sandbox. Just go and give it a try. You are going to benefit from a lot of features from that. Now, the next item is scheduling count rule, which essentially is going to allow you to configure further the optimization. This count rule is going to allow you to do this. On a service resource, you are going to have a numeric field that is going to count as a limit per day for that service resource. And it can modelize whatever you want. So for example, if you want to say, I want only to assign 5 jobs per day to that technician, you can say on that field, okay, the limit is 5, And then the optimization, when we are going to run it, is going to assign only 5 jobs per day to that technician. So the count rule can be used for this use case, but for many other use cases, I think we are going to see really kind of impressive use by you on that rule. We are pretty excited about this one. The use cases are pretty much infinite, so we are very happy to deliver this soon. Optimization insight, again, based on the feedback we get from you, we see that dispatchers are sometimes a bit scared of using optimization. They are not always aware of did it really improve my planning or not? So what we wanted to give is that for every single optimization request, you are going now to be able to see the before and after KPIs. So for example, you are going to see minimize travel. And you see that now your travel time before running the optimization was 15 minutes on average, and after running the optimization was 10 minutes on average. So directly as a dispatcher, I can trust the optimization and say, yes, I see the impact now of the optimization on my planning as a whole. The last item, and not the least, the smallest one, is actually asset uptime tracking. As I was saying, I'm taking care now of the asset service management side of our product, and we are going to invest heavily on that one. Here, the asset uptime tracking is one of the first features that we are going to deliver, and it's going to allow you to calculate 2 KPIs that are extremely important for your asset, for your equipment that you sold to customers. The first KPI is reliability, and the second one is availability. What we are going to do is allow you to track the downtime period of your equipment, the planned downtime and unplanned downtime, and then automatically calculate the reliability and availability percentage for that equipment. The beauty here is that then you could report on it. You could also aggregate that on the product level and directly flag which products are more reliable than other and which product you should take more actions or maybe do proactive actions on the assets that you sold to customers so that you know, okay, now this reliability here rate is not so high. Let's try to improve that with proactive actions. That's closing what we are delivering for Spring 20 and then summer and after. I'm opening up for question and answers.
I was just going to ask you, what does coming soon mean?
Coming soon is like summer and after. Most probably all these are summer, but you know, safe harbor, so.
Exactly, forward-looking statement.
Exactly.
So, couple of questions for you. How can you show that global, so you were showing those 2 global actions, how can you actually get those to show up?
So we are always using the platform for configuring our mobile app. So essentially just assign the global layout to the profile of your technician, and the global actions are going to appear there in your app.
Great. And what about getting access to the beta for the Shift UI?
So for the Shift UI, the ideal way of actually contacting us for this is to simply raise a case and ask for the beta to be enabled on your org.
Great. And is it available now or?
Available now. So basically, starting Spring 20.
So they could they could sign up for it, try it in the sandbox, and then try it in production once Spring 20 is in their work?
Correct.
Got it. And what about enabling the consecutive work rule in the org? How do you turn that on?
So the picklist value normally will be available for you out of the box. I don't think you need to change anything on the field level security or whatever. Nevertheless, there is a small item that you need to be careful of is essentially in the field service settings. Make sure that you have enabled complex work. So for example, for preparing this demo, I forgot about this and I was like, oh, okay, it doesn't work. Actually, it's just because I didn't enable complex work inside the field service settings. So you need that to be enabled for that rule to be working.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. And thanks for all the roadmap information. That was really interesting.
Welcome.
Now, if a couple more questions for Grace, and also there was a few people asking about the omni-channel status-based capacity and wanting more information on that. So unless you know about when that's going to be available or how it's available today, we will get back to everybody in the community and give you some more information on that.
Yeah, I don't have more information about that at this time, but I know that it's currently in beta, so we will contact the PMs on that team and see what information we can get.
So like many other betas, they all have different ways of getting access. Like in the case of Gary's, you raise a case. Some betas are open, you can just turn it on. Others have other different processes. So we'll find out what that is and we'll get back to you. So one more question about case merge from Lindy. Is it going to be available as a standard button, or is it only on the cases related list? Or sorry, only on the list view? Like, for example, could it be on the related list?
Yes. For now, I think it can only be on the list view, but I will have to double check with the PM for case merge of whether the button on the related list is on the roadmap or not.
Great.
Yeah.
We'll definitely want to know that.
Yes.
I think I've seen that question a few times.
Okay, great.
So, well, I think we're about ready to wrap up today. We give you a few minutes back in your day here. Thank you for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did. And if we didn't get your question live, that probably means we don't have somebody who has the answer on right now, so we will get back to you within the next few days. Also, this has been recorded, so you can watch it anytime or share it with others. Please come back again and join us tomorrow at 9:30 Pacific for Communities and B2B Commerce. So I can't wait to hear how you're using new features to innovate. So let's keep the conversation going in the release readiness community, where all Trailblazers can meet and be release ready.